For a generation like mine that has grown up in the age of instant information, YouTube stars, and the Twitter sphere, the idea of being a sports celebrity doesn't seem that crazy, even if our parents dream of us being something more noble, like an astronaut. Frank Marcum got to do both, and more. A talented athlete deciding to become a teacher is nothing unusual. The rest of Frank's journey was anything but ordinary. It was a journey that would take him from the WRHS High School track to 2 universities all over our nation, and nearly to the stars.
During his time at WRHS High School, Frank Marcum ran hurdles for the Roper track team. His talent and swift feet would carry him to the University of Tulsa, where he would go on to become a record-setting hurdler. However, it was off the track and in the study halls of TU where his life's work would start to take shape. Frank earned his bachelor's in history and sociology at TU and continued on to Northeastern State University, where he completed his master's in history and education. Frank would take those skills into the classrooms of Tulsa Public Schools, where he taught history for nearly 3 decades, and it was during his teaching career when he received an opportunity most people could only dream of. In 1985, Frank became one of 114 finalists culled from a pool of 11,000 applicants for NASA's Teacher in Space program. And though Frank would go on to complete all the training, in the wake of the ill-fated Challenger launch, NASA would cancel the program. And even though his trip to the stars was not meant to be, Frank remained committed to inspiring students and others about space exploration. He became regional director and wrote curriculum for the Challenger Center, which partners with NASA to engage students and teachers in science, technology, engineering, and math studies, all based around space technology. He was also selected as a NASA ambassador and traveled throughout Oklahoma, speaking to civic organizations, encouraging students to consider careers in space exploration. Leading by example, Frank earned a commercial pilot license, eventually flying more than 37 types of aircraft. Frank was also an Army veteran and served for 26 years in the Army Reserve, receiving 3 Army Commendation Medals for meritorious service. As a company commander, he headed the detachment that guards the U.S. gold supply. He was also the military liaison to President Gerald Ford during the 1980 Cuban refugee crisis at Fort Chaffee. Always the educator, he taught for several years at the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College, eventually becoming Director of Officers Courses and rising to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. For 20 years, Frank was a coordinator for the Close-Up Foundation, a national organization that encourages young people to participate in local, state, and federal government. Each year, he took students to Washington, D.C. to experience the workings of government firsthand. Eventually, Frank would retire from education, but he would remain active, becoming Vice President of Quality Control and Logistics for Solaria Advanced Blast Protection Systems, one of the first firms to develop bomb blast protection for military vehicles. It was a full and unpredictable journey, but it all began in the halls and on the track of WRHS High School.
Ladies and gentlemen, WRHS Hall of Fame inductee from the class of 1961, Mr. Frank Marcum.